Do you remember in Batman's The Dark Knight Rising where Bane breaks Bruce Wayne's back and rather than kill him, puts him into the pit to break his mind and spirit too? There was only one entrance or exit out of the pit, a smooth walled stone shaft, but it was never locked or covered. However, only one person had ever made it out alive. Now, I prefer to think I have more in common with Wonder Woman than Bruce Wayne. However, my story mirrors Bruce Wayne's, but told inversely. I survived childhood trauma that broke my spirit, and then my body broke too. My first freak accident put me in a wheelchair. Doctors wanted to amputate my leg, but I refused. They said, "You'll never walk again without assistance," but I refused to make an agreement with that too. I worked physical therapy like a full-time job. And not only did I relearn how to walk after 4 years, I ran a 5K and then a 10K and then summited mountains. And I began to hear, "Write your story." No, thank you. That's too vulnerable. And just when I thought I had rebuilt, I had a second freak accident. Like Bruce Wayne, I broke my back. I fell through a trapdoor, not figuratively, but literally. And I broke my back in two places, had a pelvic avulsion fracture, and tore the hamstrings in my left leg. That used to be my good leg. And lying there again, I said, if survival isn't the goal, what is? And what I heard was, "Write your story." Well, I couldn't use crutches. I couldn't even sit up. But as soon as I could use a computer, I began to write my story I entitled, "Whom He Raised." And as I traced the architecture of my own breaking, the researcher in me joined the psychologist and seminarian in me at the table. And we began to speak about the pattern in my pain that mirrored that of others I had worked with. You see, many of us who are trauma survivors are desperate to get out of the pit. And every time we try, just before we make the final leap out, we slip and the rope catches us and breaks our back and pulls us back down into survival mode and despair. In The Dark Knight Rises, only one person had escaped other than Bruce Wayne. And now I have escaped too. And in the movie, everyone knew the secret of the girl who had escaped: make the climb without the rope. Well, no one else had ever attempted it though. They were more comfortable in the misery they knew than facing the unknown and the what ifs. But just like in my journey, Bruce Wayne listened to the wise counsel of those who sat with him while he healed. And he made his climb, his escape without the rope. But once he was out, he threw the lifeline back down to others. In real life, there is a secret to getting out of the pit too. Now, this is just the trailer, but I'll tell you the secret. Love is the answer. Not just any love, love that connects us vertically and inwardly and outwardly. You see, our brains were wired for connection, but trauma rewires our brain for protection. And love is the answer to reset our brains back to default mode. And not only is love the answer, but it joins the vehicle of radical kindness, sowing seeds of hope that bloom into a lifeline to help others get out of the pit. Join me for the rest of the story on March 14th.